Hello my dear students, this is Deepak Singhal and I welcome you all to the Eden Eyes. In this session, I'll be talking about the very important topic which UPSC is very fond of asking, especially in the art and culture background. And in this session, I'll be talking about the first pan-Indian empire of India, that is Mauryas. I'm talking about the ancient India and the type of architecture that they were following during their rule in India. However, in this class, I'll be describing only one aspect of the Mauryan architecture very carefully, so that you all should know that how Mauryan architecture used to be. As we all know about the Mahajan phase, and I would like to mention here that Mahajan phase is actually described as a phase when the kingdoms were arising over the soils of ancient India. Because before Mahajan what we are experiencing in the ancient Indian history is about the Vedic age. And when the Mahajan phase comes before all, it says that, means according to some Buddhist and Jain sources, we get a complete list of 16 Mahajan which were evolving over the soils of India. However, there were some factors, there were some reasons that why out of all Mahajan only Magad emerged victorious, only Magad emerged as the center of new India, means the center of ancient India, and it is the Magad on which the great Mauryans, they ruled over almost every part of India, leaving some parts to the east and some parts to the deep south, where the Cholas and Pandyas were residing. But according to the historical sources, it is also proved that Mauryans were on friendly terms as far as the kingdoms of the deep south were concerned. And even we all know that what happened during Ashoka. Ashoka sent his daughter Sanghamitra and his son Mahendra to Sri Lanka in order to spread the message of Buddhism, in order to spread the message of great Dhamma, which was adopted by Ashoka after the war of Kalinga. But as far as Mauryan architecture is concerned, students, I would like to mention here that Mauryan architecture can be broadly classified into two categories. And the one most important category of the Mauryan architecture is about the court art. Court art means that type of art which is promoted by the Mauryan kings, which is done by the Mauryan kings, which is carried by the Mauryan kings, and the other type of architecture was called the popular architecture, which is more of individual architecture where no royal patronage was experienced. However, as far as UPSC civil services examinations are concerned, they are much more interested with the court architecture of Mauryas, because that is very much important. As far as the court architecture of Mauryas are concerned, you can even see that court architecture of Mauryas used to have three most important elements, that is the architecture related with palaces, architecture related with pillars, and the architecture related with the stupa construction. And in this session, I'll be just talking about the stupa construction in details. However, these details will be taught to you keeping in mind the type of questions which UPSC is asking you again and again in art and culture topic as far as prelims are concerned. So, first of all, in order to understand about the stupa architecture, we need to know that what and why this stupa was constructed, how this stupa looks like, and as you can see also that stupa is generally constructed over the bodily remains of the founder, the great propounder of Buddhism, Mahatma Buddha. Yes, bodily remains of Mahatma Buddha, it is over the bodily remains, and according to some archaeological findings, we are even ready to say that not only the bodily remains of Mahatma Buddha were used in order to construct these stupas, but the daily life, I would say, articles which Mahatma Buddha used to use in his daily life were also being used in order to construct the stupa. Now I will be talking about various details pertaining to stupa construction. As far as the architecture related to stupa construction is concerned, you can also see that stupa used to have many parts. Stupa, it used to have many parts. As you can see, the big dome like structure was called anda, A-N-D-A. It was called anda. Above the anda, there used to be a square boundary like structure, railing like structure, and that square railing was called harmika. It was inside that harmika we used to have a pillar having 3 discs looking like an umbrella. And now the question comes, why only 3 discs are chosen by these constructors of stupa? Why not 2? Why not more than 3? Why not just a single disc? And when we try to find the answer of choosing just 3 discs by the constructors, by those people who constructed the stupa, the ideology behind it is lying in Buddhist philosophy. That is Abhidhamba Pitak. Abhidhamba Pitak is mentioning the Buddhist philosophy in details, and according to this Abhidhamba Pitak, it is said that the 3 discs of Chatra, it is called Chatra. Chatra means that pillar like structure having 3 discs, inside that railing like structure called harmika, and every disc used to mean something. Like the first disc, as you can see, it used to mean respect. The second disc above it used to mean veneration, and the third disc above it used to mean magnanimity. So 3 important aspects used to be signified by using that Chatra like structure. First is respect, second is veneration, and the third is magnanimity, which actually makes it even more, I would say, why ideologically and philosophically this stupa construction was important. So these are the important details pertaining to stupa. As you can also see that stupa means that anda used to have a circumambulatory path. The circumambulatory path in order to complete the parikrama of that stupa, and this circumambulatory path, which is guarded by the railings from all the sides, this path was called Pradakshina path. Pradakshina path, very important, where the followers of Buddhism used to go and take a round of anda and take a round of stupa. And very important thing which should be looked at when you are describing about this stupa, again very ideologically important thing which I would like to mention in the class is about the entry gates to these stupas. Generally, there used to be 4 entry gates as far as stupa was concerned, and the 4 entry gates used to be from the 4 directions: north, south, east and west. And now the question comes. That why 4 entry gates are there? Why not just 1? Why not just 2? And the question means this question and the answer behind it is also lying in I would say in the various important sources of Buddhism, and it is said that the 4 gates are chosen in order to signify the 4 most important, I would say, events which happened in the life of Buddha, Mahatma Buddha. And the 4 events which happened in the life of Buddha, which is even signified in the 4 gates. The first event is a birth of Buddha, when Buddha took birth. The second event we all know is the attainment of knowledge. Attainment of knowledge when Buddha attained nirvana, the supreme knowledge. The second gate is signifying this event. However, the third gate is signifying the first sermon which was given by Mahatma Buddha, means after attaining the supreme knowledge, Mahatma Buddha gave his first speech in Sarnath. And his first speech, it actually understood by various Buddhist philosophers that when Mahatma Buddha gave his first speech at Sarnath, it revolved the wheel of dharma, and that is why his first sermon at Sarnath has been given a name called Dharam Chakra Parivartanam. And this Dharam Chakra Parivartanam is signifying the third gate. And the fourth gate is signifying when Buddha attains divinity. Divinity means when Buddha attained or when Buddha died, which has been given the name too in the Buddhist sources called Mahaparinirvana. So the four things which happened in the life of Buddha are signified with the use of these four gates. The first thing, the birth. The second thing, attainment of nirvana. The third thing which happened in the life of Buddha is the first sermon called Dharam Chakra Parivartanam. And the fourth thing which happened in the life of Buddha when Buddha attains divinity called Mahaparinirvana. And that is why Stupa used to have these four gates. The gates were called torans. Torans, torans, when you are trying to describe the stupa architecture. This is how the stupa looks like. Now I would like to take the class, this session, in order to understand that how this Siddhartha became Buddha. So in order to understand the philosophy behind Buddha, that how all of a sudden this Siddhartha became Mahatma Buddha and laid the foundations of Buddhism, the story is actually lying. When Buddha is taking, or when Buddha was taking birth, and when Buddha took birth, there was a prophecy in the court of his father, whose name is Sudodhana, that if Buddha comes to know about the worldly sorrows, this man will live the royal life. And yes, because of this fear of Sudodhana, that Buddha, if this man, means if Siddhartha comes to know about the worldly sorrows, worldly pains, he might abandon this royal household and will become a monk. That is why Sudodhana never let Buddha to go out of the fort. This is what the sources of Buddhism are talking about. And he was fabricating the things in the fort, so that Sudodhana, means the Sudodhana fabricated things so well in the court, in the fort in which Buddha was confined, so that Buddha could never realize that what a pain is, what is a sorrow. And that is why one day when Sudodhana was not in the town, Buddha, means Siddhartha, he took a tour of his empire. And when he went outside the fort, Buddha experienced four things which actually changed his life. The first thing which Buddha saw was an aging man, an old man. The second thing which Buddha saw is a sick man. Third thing which Buddha saw is a dead body. And the fourth thing which Buddha saw is a monk meditating beneath the tree. And when Buddha saw all these four things, Buddha was actually captured by various number of thoughts. And Buddha started thinking, pondering over a thought, that why a man has to see these many stages of the life. That why man needs to experience these sorrows, these pains. And taking all these questions in his head, Buddha went to his guru, his teacher, Alar Kalam, and asked him that what is the cause of these sorrows and how a man can be free from them. When Alar Kalam heard the question put forward by Buddha, he was amazed. He could not answer the queries which were raised by Siddhartha. And that is why Alar Kalam suggested Mahatma Buddha that you please leave the royal household and you lead the life of a monk. You wander from place to place. This is the path from where, or this is the path, walking on it you can get the answers of all your queries. And Buddha did the same. Buddha left the royal house. He started living the life of a monk, and after, I would say, so many years of hard work, Buddha, yes, beneath a Bodhi tree, he attained supreme knowledge. And the supreme knowledge, this event when Buddha attained knowledge, is called Nirvana. And yes, and from this time period, a boy named Siddhartha, when he attained Nirvana, he becomes Buddha. Buddha means an enlightened one. And the followers of this man were called Bodhis. In this way, he laid the foundations of Buddhism. And after getting the knowledge of nirvana, Buddha thought of distributing it. And that is why he gave his first sermon at Sarnath, where he asked the people that what is the reason behind that you all need to experience sorrows, you all need to, and you all are facing, the pain. When the people were unable to answer this question of Buddha, Buddha answered his question himself, and he said that yes, the pleasure, the desire is the main reason behind all your pains, all your worries, all your sorrows. And then the people asked him, sir, means monk, how can we be free from these cycle of sorrow, pain and everything? Buddha said in a very simple line, in one word, he said that if one knows and if one follows the path which is called Ashtanga Marg, the eightfold path, one can be free from all the sorrows and pain. In this way, Buddha propounded the eightfold path which can lead a man to live a life without sorrow, without pain, a middle life where you are not so much happy but you are also not so much sad. This is what Buddha propounded. And that is why this event of Buddha is actually called, when he revolved the chakra of religion, dharma, which is called Dharam Chakra Parivartanam. Yes, the third most important thing which happened in the life of Buddha, which is signified by the construction of third Torana. So this is the story about Buddhism. Much more will be taught to you in the succeeding sessions, and I will rest my lecture on this note that history is not hard, provided if you are reading it with interest, if you are trying to connect things, and if you can try and if you can learn, and if you learn to connect the things in history, this subject will become one of the easiest subjects to remember. And even I will devise the technique that how one should learn about the eightfold path propounded by Buddha, because everything which Buddha taught can also be related with everything which you are facing in the present day life, being you are a student or an adult, or you are the wage earner for your family, or even if you are living in your old age. This is what Buddha said, and that is why this is the beauty of Mahatma Buddha, that so many years before he said something which is even relevant now, and that is why Mahatma Buddha is regarded as one of the most enlightened man of ancient Indian history. So I will rest my session here only. We'll see you in the next session very soon. Till then, prepare well.